Senator Schumer, my colleague, eagerly, greedily wanted to become the face of the shutdown. The American people, in the American people's opinion, Senator Schumer he's a wet match in a dark cave. He polls right up there with clubbing baby seals.
Is clubbing baby seals not poll as well as it used to? Because I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to club baby seals, but boy, their fur is just amazing, isn't it? And they don't put up much of a fight. They're kind of friendly beasts. And they make great mittens. Senator John Kennedy, of course. Chuck Schumer, what is he, a wet match in a dark cave? That sounds pretty good. Senator Kennedy is a lot of fun. He's a fun guy. The government shutdown continues. Tens of millions of Americans being denied nutritional assistance, nutritional aid, that is, say, food and food stamps and things like that, because Chuck Schumer wants Americans to starve to death because they think it'll be good for the Democrat Party, in the polls, and that's actually all that they care about. Isn't that amazing? The government shutdown running into some speed bumps, and I want to share some of that with you. Also, welcome back once again, and happy Wednesday to all of you. Wednesday means that it is, what does it mean here on the Chris Plant Show? I'm looking around. See? That means that it's mailbag day. It's mailbag day here on the Chris Plant Show, and I have my mailbag questions printed out from the magic printer, thanks to the patriarchy and America and Western civilization. The Democrats are against everything good. And they love, they call it the Affordable Care Act because, they have no understanding of irony, to call it the Affordable Care Act made it more expensive for everyone and for the government and the taxpayers and individuals like myself and my best girl and like you, more expensive for everyone. But now they need another $1 or $1.5 trillion to bail out the crime that they call Obamacare. And they ironically call the Affordable Care Act, even the Washington Post confessing that the Affordable Care Act was never actually affordable. And the Washington Post knew it all along, and they openly, flagrantly, shamelessly lied to the American people. And all the news media, it's a big circle fest and a hot tub. They get their fake news from each other. So when the Washington Post says it's affordable, and they all say it's going to make it more affordable. And that's a big lie. But never mind that. Now, the Democrats care about one thing, that's power. And he mentioned the greed of Senator John Kennedy did, of Chuck Schumer, the Lizard King. Senator Kennedy should call him the Lizard King, don't you think? The reptilian Lizard King. And I do. I want to share some stuff with you because let's go to soundbite number 4 on our big soundbite list today. Because on CNN used to be something of a news organization, but not so much now. They've got a Democrat by the name of John Berman that they pay millions of dollars to lie to a shrinking audience at CNN on behalf of the Democrat Party and the left, the movements, if you will, of the global left, the international left, the Davos people, the private jet global warmistas, like Frankenstein over there, John Kerry. Halloween is coming up. That's always a big day for John Kerry, isn't it? Because he just, his billionaire wife, he married a billionaire the second time around. First time, his first wife was only worth hundreds of millions. They still had a private jet. Then he moved on from her and got the billionaire Heinz, married the Heinz food fortune, the Heinz ketchup fortune. And Halloween is a big day for him because the billionaire's wife puts the bolts on his neck, right, with a little glue, little rubber cement, and then he just extends his arms and says, "Ugh," and then he's all set for Halloween. So he's all good to go for Halloween like that. Isn't that wonderful? Let's go to John Berman because he's got the government shutdown, the Democrat Party, the Schumer shutdown, and the news media. They say, oh, the Republicans work on Capitol Hill too. They're in charge. Yeah, they voted 13 times to open the government. The Democrats under Chuck Schumer, the Lizard King, voted 13 times to deny children food and starve them to death, to kill children by the millions. We have a soundbite on that today with a Democrat member of Congress. They're just, it's amazing how they've assembled such a gang of pathological, psychotic liars. But here's John Berman on CNN, and he's talking to their pollster guy that everybody loves. I'm not as big a fan as most people. He's fine, but he's not very exciting. Harry Enton, which sounds like breakfast Danish with hair on it. Doesn't it? A breakfast Enton, like intimate, but never mind that. Maybe that's a Chicago thing. John Berman with Harry Enton, and they're looking at the poll numbers because the Democrats look at the polls and they say, well, we lie 1,000 times, just as Joseph Goebbels would have us do. They lie 1,000 times that the government shutdown is the Republicans' fault, and the Republicans want to starve children, while the Democrats are like stealing your car while you're not looking. But here's John Berman and Harry Enton, and they're looking at the poll numbers, and John Berman's eyebrows went up and his jaw dropped, and he's like, oh, no, you mean it's not polling well for the Democrats? The gigantic lie, a lie told 1,000 times, that it's not the Democrats' fault, it's the Republicans' fault that the government shut down, and now they're starving children, the Democrats?
One thing that might end a shutdown is political pain if parties start to feel that it's hurting them. So let's talk about that, starting with Republicans. How has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit.
Shocked. Well, maybe it's because the American people are seeing through the BS. I almost spoke freely there. The BS that the Democrats and John Berman and the media, CNN and MSLSD and all that they're peddling. Maybe the American people see that the Republicans vote every time to open the government, and the Democrats vote every time to shut the government down. And then the Democrat media lies to everybody and says, the Republicans did it. The Republicans, I'll confess that he did it. It's just amazing stuff. Then they got this, the Harry Enton here with his big board, and he's got a little green pen, and it's electronic, and he's circling, hey, look at this. The numbers are good for the Republicans and bad for the Democrats. We're going to have to dial up the big fascist Joseph Goebbels lie. Here's Harry Enton.
Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Despite the fact that they control, well, they keep voting to open the government, you twerp, you putz, you fake lobbyist, or whatever you are. And just amazing. So the Republicans are up 5% approval in Congress, up 2% overall. But he's shocked. You can hear the shock in his voice. This is shocking. We've been telling the American people that the Republicans are the bad guys here, and yet their numbers keep going up. That's because you don't have any credibility anymore, because CNN and their fellow travelers, as the communists always refer to their pals, the fellow travelers of you CNN hacks have no credibility anymore. And whatever you say, the opposite is likely true. But everybody loves this Harry Enton guy, and the numbers are up for the Republicans. But wait, aren't they up for the Lizard King and the people that are voting to shut the government down 13 times? Aren't they faring very well also? CNN.
But what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
Pretty good position generically when it comes to the historical ballot. Now, these guys, he's a numbers geek, and he's actually kind of fun. He has a good time doing what he's doing, and that makes it more palatable, I guess, as a rule. But you can hear the shock in both of their voices that this isn't a complete disaster for the Republicans, because that's what they're pitching. That's what they're selling. They're selling a complete disaster for the Republicans. That's who they are. Now let's go to CNN's Casey Hunt. Casey Hunt. That's her name, allegedly. With a radical extremist, terrorist Democrat senator by the name of Ruben Gallego from New Mexico. He likes to call it New Mexico because he's anti-American. He's a left-wing Democrat. And, hey, the government shutdown, this is how this works. And she's saying, every time there's a government shutdown, we in the media, we come out and we blame the Republicans, and the American people believe it, and then it's good for the Democrats. What's going on here, Ruben Gallego?
In the past, Democrats, when Republicans have tried to do something like this, Democrats have argued that the norms of our government should be that you negotiate policy outside of a government shutdown. Why is it suddenly right to do it this way and to do it for this long when it didn't used to be the right way in Democrats' view?
The right way.
Oh, that's an easy answer. It's Donald Trump. You're talking about norms in the time of Donald Trump?
Oh, that's easy. It's Donald Trump. Well, we shut the government down, and then we just say Donald Trump. And because we're a gang of psychotics with rifles shooting and assassinating people like Charlie Kirk and shooting through President Trump's ear and trying to assassinate him twice. And, yeah, the answer is Trump. Well, hey, Ruben Gallego, I've got a political event for you in Butler, Pennsylvania. Here's the map. See you there. Isn't that great? Casey Hunt. But the Democrats, come on. This is what we've turned into the fake, corrupt norm in America. The Democrats shut the government down. The media blames the Republicans, and it's a big win for the Democrats.
Right, but Democrats have spent so much time arguing about how maintaining those norms is actually incredibly important in the face of Donald Trump.
It's all out the window. It's all out the window, Casey. No. When you're dealing in time with Donald Trump, this is the man that is like extorting people. He's literally, breaking every rules. We're not going to go back and play by the norms. Breaking every rules. That's a singular, plural disagreement from the alleged U.S. senator. U.S. senators are not what they used to be. That's generous understatement. Isn't that amazing? Now let's go to Fake Tapper. He's a former Democrat Capitol Hill staffer, House of Representatives. He worked for the woman whose husband was a member of the House, too. He went to prison for corruption. And their son married Chelsea Clinton, who is actually Webb Hubbell's daughter and not Bill Clinton's daughter. But never mind that. He had a date with Monica Lewinsky, and that's what launched his fake journalistic career. He's a Democrat. He's on television. They pay him 7 figures, and he lies for the Democrat Party. And he's there with another New Mexico elected official, a House member, Melanie Stansbury. Melanie Stansbury is the Democrat from New Mexico in the House of Representatives. And Jake Tapper say, hey, what about this reopening the government thing since the Democrats shut it down?
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding their tactics.
The White House.
Now, let me be clear. And then she lies like a Nazi at Nuremberg. I'm sorry, starving children. You're aborting 1 million children. Jake Tapper should say. So you're okay with the Democrats literally killing 1 million unborn babies this year and harvesting their organs? But what is it? Let me be clear. And then this whopper of a lie. I think Child Protective Services should go in and remove her children from her household because she's a danger to civilization. This is Democrat Congresswoman Stansbury.
This is a choice by the White House.
This is also, Congresswoman, this is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is.
Look, he accidentally told the truth. No, it's not. She just lies like a psychopath who's in handcuffs being dragged away from the scene of the crime. I'm sorry, the Republicans are starving children? Yeah, you guys are like sex abusing, organ harvesting, million a year aborting, child killing lunatics. You're, you're going to have death chambers. They should have rail spurs and camps. They're quite amazing. There's more, but Jake Tapper, even he, it was so shameless. He's like, well, no, that's just obviously untrue. No, the Democrats shut it down. But he was done. That was it. That's as contentious as he got with it. Did you know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is finally available to all of us? And the third generation builds on the first two generations. The first two generations got thousands of five-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet, became a bestseller in no time. This new Thunderstorm uses two technologies that studies have demonstrated help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air that you and your family breathe at home, at the office. The Thunderstorm removes viruses and bacteria, dust, pet dander, smoke, and all kinds of nasty smells and aromas as well. The Thunderstorm will get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. Talking about kitty litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smoke, liberal protesters, musty basements, no match for the Thunderstorm. Right now, because we hang out together, you can get 3 Thunderstorms and save $200 American when you buy the 3-pack for whole home protection. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, your family room, your kitchen, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 American on 3 Thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. Yeah, even Jake Tapper had to cringe and shock. Well, wow, I've never heard a lie that big, even from Democrats in Congress. But this woman is just, boy, she should end up in the Nuremberg trials.
This is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is.
I've got more on this, and I have the Speaker of the House coming up. He just spoke up on Capitol Hill, and I will share that with you shortly. I don't think you can call it can you call it a manhunt? It's a trans hunt. The Democrats have introduced yet another new term for all of us, and that is the trans hunt. The transgender hunt is underway because the Democrat that assassinated Charlie Kirk with a rifle, shooting him through the neck and murdering him. Remember that guy? He had messages written on his bullets. It's a big trend with the Democrats now when they're murdering people to write messages on the bullets because of the rampant mental illness and obsession with violence. But the assassin of Charlie Kirk, he's got a boyfriend who thinks he's his girlfriend. He says he's transgender, but he's not really. The Democrats told him he was. But he's missing now, and there's a trans hunt underway.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children.
Ah, yes. Little armband-wearing fascist that she is. Melanie Stansbury. And I got to, he doesn't deserve all the credit in the world for just noticing what is flagrantly obvious right before him, like a mountain. But he said, well, that's the Democrats that keep voting to shut the government down 13 times now. And if anybody's starving children, it's the traditional children starvers on the left. And the Democrat Party, the organ harvesters, the Democrat Party. Isn't that amazing? But this Stansbury woman, Melanie Stansbury, I don't like her at all. Jake Tapper on CNN, as I've talked about this before, there's a point at which the media has to tell the truth from time to time because it becomes just embarrassing to toe the lie that the Democrat Party is pimping. And, the Republicans are starving children to death. Take the ball-peen hammer out of her hand and drag the baby carcasses away from her ankles. Stansbury, it continued very briefly.
The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3 weeks worth of SNAP
food.
funds. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me
it is
tell
a big
you
deal
that
to
for
me.
the grandparents,
It's a big deal to him. No, it's not.
For grandparents
It is a big deal to
that
me.
literally
No,
are
it's not.
feeding their children.
My point is that it's a short-term solution.
In those accounts,
It's
it
a short-term.
matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a short-term solution, Jake Tapper insists. It doesn't matter, because then we'll fight about it again and have another civil war in a couple of weeks, because we'll shut down the filthy government again if it works this time and we're able to extort more than $1 trillion and add it to the national debt so that the Affordable Care Act is affordable for another 6 weeks. Then we'll lie to you again with a new set of lies that, Jake, you will carry for them like the dutiful Democrat Party apparatchik that you are. This woman, Stansbury, she should be expelled from Congress.
At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds
if you
run
feel
out,
so
and
strongly,
we are fighting
Congresswoman,
to get
why
that
not
funding.
ask the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government so that the SNAP funds...
Sir, I am here in the House of Representatives. It is shut down. I am fighting to get the government reopened. I am fighting to get funding put back into SNAP that is already existent, and I am fighting for the American people. I am here. But show me a single Republican that is here. Not a single one is here.
Well, that's because the Republicans and the Republican-controlled House already passed the bill to open the government. How many times? And Jake Tapper, who is a former Democrat Party Capitol Hill staffer in the House of Representatives, doesn't say, and she just keeps talking over him because she's a fascist. And Jake Tapper, at that point, if it were me, of course, I'd say, the House has already passed it. What would you like them to come back and do? Pass it again? To show that they're still with passing a bill they've already passed to keep the government open and funding the government? The Republican-controlled House has Congresswoman Stansbury. The House voted to keep the government open, and they don't have to come back and vote again to do what they've already done. Jake Tapper knows the rules of the House of Representatives. He's a Democrat staffer from the House of Representatives, posing as a journalist all these years later. Was Monica Lewinsky in the room with him? Because that's what got his career launched. All right, now let's go to that woman is a disgrace, even to the Democrats in Congress. Oh, they want to starve children. You know, stop killing whales off the East Coast with your wind farm. Stop aborting 1 million babies a year and harvesting their organs. You and Joseph Mengele will hang out together in hell, lady. That'd be my follow-up if I were Jake Tapper. You know, that's what I'd say. Are you looking forward to spending eternity in hell with Joseph Goebbels, with Dr. Joseph Mengele of the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler? And that'd be my follow-up. I think that's why they don't hire me at CNN. All right, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who's already passed the filthy, stinking bill that the Democrats are obstructing in the Senate because they can. I think I would have asked her, too. Well, if you could have obstructed the bill in the House and kept it from passing, would you have done that, Congresswoman? Because then you'd be starving the children to death, as Schumer and the Democrats are starving the children to death in the Senate today, because every Republican votes to feed the children, to pass the continuing resolution, and Democrats vote against feeding the children. Now, why doesn't Jake Tapper respond with that? Oh, yeah, because he gets his money by the millions from the Democrat Party. And what do they ask him to do? They ask him to lie all the time. And what does he do? He lies all the time. And it became so humiliating, pretending that it's not the Democrats voting to shut the government down. They did it for a 13th time yesterday to shut the government down. But when you're a Democrat, the news media, they perform acts of journalistic gratification upon you. And that's what Jake Tapper is paid to do.
This is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is.
No, it is not. Every word is a lie from this woman. I'm betting. You think she has a husband?
Doesn't say on Wikipedia.
Oh, really? Doesn't say? Oh, is that right? She's got to have somebody to cheat on. Well, maybe she doesn't have any. She just cheats on all of us and lies to all of us. But she's a liar and a cheat and a fraud. All right, now let's go to the Speaker of the House, who passed this bill through the House of Representatives I'm guessing this idiot voted to shut it down, the Stansberry woman. She must have voted back then when the Republicans in the House voted to keep the government going with the continuing resolution, which is what they've done for years and years and years, because the Democrats are like the Communist Party who invaded overnight under the concertina wire to take over the world. All right, let's go to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, this morning. One of the things he did, because I only talked about this a little yesterday, but it's a big deal. House committee found that Joe Biden's auto pen issuing pardons and commutations of criminal sentences and favors for the Democrat Party, mostly for criminals. Well, not all the pardons and commutations for criminals. And they're all for the Democrats, because they're a third world country living among us, the Democrat Party is. But the auto pens, the House committee said, well, these commutations and pardons should be void because Joe Biden had no idea that these were being signed or by whom they were being signed. Turns out the chief of staff of the White House, who nobody could pick out of a lineup and couldn't even while Biden was in the White House, that he was farming him out to underlings to use the auto pen to fake Joe Biden's signature on thousands of documents. And he had no idea what was going on. And the Democrats are like, oh, that's great. We do it all the time. Let's go to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Every executive action signed by the auto pen without written authorization from President Biden should be voided. This is an unprecedented situation in American politics and government. The actions of President Biden simply were not all his own actions. And there are major implications to that, including all the pardons. So they got somebody in the White House, we don't know who, Joe Biden doesn't know who, signing with the president, faking the president's signature. It's like, when you're a teenager and you forge your mom's check, form your mom's signature on a check, and you go to the McDonald's or wherever you go. This is what Joe Biden has been doing for 4 years, and the Biden corruption, the corrupt gang that he runs with. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Yes, sir. Now, this guy's great. Number 14. This guy was an Obama administration official in the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and he had like 1 foot in immigration, customs enforcement. And he was on CNN bragging about how he had his own auto pen as a relatively low-ranking government official in the bureaucracy. He had his own auto pen, and he, I don't know, did you just let anybody use the auto pen? Scott Jennings, the only sensible person on CNN these days, Scott Jennings, the conservative, who points out the obvious to everybody, and they're always stunned. But here's this Democrat, Elliott Williams, in the Obama corrupt administration, used the IRS against his political enemies, the FBI against his political enemies, Justice Department against his political enemies, intelligence community against his political enemies. And this crook, Elliott Williams, said, he had an auto pen when he was a low-ranking government official and had 1 foot in immigration customs enforcement. Scott Jennings, who has common sense and is not a wanker and an idiot, was on the set with him, and he was slack-jawed. He's like, wait a minute, what?
The tradition of auto pens has existed in every presidential administration across parties. I had an auto pen when I worked at ICE.
I'm sorry, Elliott Williams?
Elliott Williams literally had an auto pen.
You were important enough to have an auto pen. I'm so impressed.
I am important, Casey. But no,
Casey Hunt fluffing him.
It's a common practice.
Did you allow people to use the name Elliott Williams without your knowledge of the document or what was on the page?
I don't recall.
I don't recall.
I'm asking you, if you were a government official and you had an auto pen, which you did, would you let some staffer sign things in your name without reading?
Yeah, here's the question. Was my authority delegated to that person? And I think they do have the authority to do so.
And that's Casey Hunt laughed when his answer was, I don't recall. I'd drag him by his ankles to Gitmo and waterboard him and ask him the question again. What do you think? Waterboarding? I'd rather be waterboarding. I was going through some T-shirts the other day at home, and I found my I'd rather be waterboarding T-shirt. And I haven't worn it recently enough. I'm going to have to wear that soon.
But there's Casey Hunt. She laughs. And again, Scott Jennings said, okay, you, nobody, had an auto pen, and did you allow nameless, faceless people to use your signature on an auto pen? And he says, oh, I don't recall. And what does the news anchor do? She chuckles, giggles, and then might have rubbed his leg. It was a little fluffy moment for them. Now, again, Scott Jennings is the only person with any common sense there.
I'm serious, Scott. Laws and regulations.
The authority to delegate pardons and executive orders, the President of the United States can say, you unelected staffer can go sign my name on a document that I've never seen for a decision that I've never made?
Quite often, the United States Code delegates authority. So through the President of the United States, through the Attorney General, whatever else, X person can carry out a function. And certainly that could be the case.
No, that was complete misdirection. And what a snake this guy is. He's just a disgrace to Western civilization. Amazing. Again, Scott Jennings and this guy, Elliot Williams, on CNN. You had an auto pen that nobody ever heard of? Did you authorize other people to use your signature on an auto pen to perpetrate acts against the American people? Did you pardon people? Did you have the authority of the President of the United States? And Scott Jennings.
Every president does this. Now, if it's a question about Biden's fitness for office, did he know what he was? Of course,
that's a separate issue.
Question, but I just
change the subject.
One, given how vast the pardon power is, and two, given how comprehensive the use of auto pens are across administrations, I have a hard time seeing a legal challenge.
Nobody can be delegated the pardon power.
Yes.
It is a constitutional power.
Yes.
And I don't really think you can delegate the executive order power either, because the executive has to make the order.
So, Scott,
listen to what liars these people are. And the anchor woman, who's supposed to be a journalist, was just being a fluffer. It was like they were at a backyard barbecue in, bikinis, both of them in the hot tub with pina coladas. Hey, Casey, do I have to explain what your job description is supposed to be? Good Lord. Congressman Jim Jordan was not comfortable with all this auto pen ridiculousness. And honestly, Congressman Comer, Chairman Comer, yesterday, night before last, Comer calls for Biden auto pen actions to be held null and void in House Oversight Committee report because, that it's all been corrupted. He called on Attorney General Pam Bondi to examine all of Biden's executive orders because it's been an abuse of power for 4 years. Congressman Jim Jordan having none of it.
The whole country knew Joe Biden wasn't up to the job, and we saw that firsthand in that debate in the summer of 2024. I mean, the line I always remember is when Joe Biden said he had an 8 handicap. We knew he wasn't up to the task after that debate, and then you have all these actions he took subsequent to that. That's the concern there. And Joe Biden, when he was asked about this, said, well, we had a process in place. As the report points out, there really wasn't a process for them to evaluate each of these, whether it was a pardon, commutation, or whatever action, executive order, whatever actions the president took.
The Democrat Party, Congressman Comer's House Oversight Committee, discovered this based on testimony by Obama administration officials, the abuses of the auto pen. And the Democrats came out and said, the whole report's a sham. That's because they're a third world. They shouldn't even be English speaking. They should be speaking Tagalog or something. Should be speaking something from a country that's not like America. The big wireless companies have been pulling one over on all of us for a long, long time. It's time to make the switch, like I did, to consumer cellular. Listen, I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage, same towers, same network, same transmitters, without the big wireless money every month in my bill. It's not just about saving money on the bill, although that's real good. It's also about not being used and abused by your own cell phone company. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? Most of us do not. But most people over 50 use less than 8 gigs of data in any given month. Big wireless companies shove you into an unlimited plan because they need to redistribute your payment to cover the cost of 12-year-olds that use 20 times as much data as you use. And if you're not using all that data, you are the one being used. Sorry to tell you. When you've had enough of that, time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, they set me up with a service and a phone. It's really easy to make the switch. You call, you talk to an actual human being, not a robot or a touchpad. That person is based right here in the United States, not in a far-off land or on a space station. They're incredibly helpful, actual human beings. Only take you about 20 minutes. You're going to save money every month. You'll be happy you did. Give them a call today and make the switch. Call them at 800-760-0702. 800-760-0702. Yes. Those rascally Democrats. I got President Trump and Asia and more coming up.
Did you allow people to use the name Elliott Williams without your knowledge of the document or what was on the page?
I don't recall. So...
Let's go back to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Scott. Scott calling from Salina, Kansas. Oh, Scott, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris. Like I said yesterday, I hope everything's hunky-dory with you guys. Number one, I always get a kick out of Harry Anton, other than maybe just a little bit less Red Bull. Secondly is... You know, you hear Jasmine Crockett, who's, she's an ignoramus, and all these other people saying, oh, Trump's overseas making these deals. He should be back here to negotiating. Well, I hate to break this to you, sweetie. There isn't anything to negotiate. Mm-hmm. And lastly is, and this is just a feeling, and this is a question to you because you have your, hand on the pulse of America. I just feel like something's turning. Something is changing. Like we're starting to get our brains back, for lack of a better way to put it.
As a culture, as a nation, people are starting to wake up to the big lie?
Yes.
I hope so. I've seen some indications of that, and I'm hopeful, but I'm always hopeful. But you're right. I think, and I hope you see the poll numbers are shit. The poll numbers, mole numbers, because they'll change in a week. But you are saying that you are hopeful that the American people are starting to wake up to the fraud or frauds that are being perpetrated upon us. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I hope that's true. I hope that you're right. And I like your optimism. And, if you don't get optimism out of Salina, Kansas, where are you going to get optimism out of? I certainly hope you're right, Scott.